Metro Boomin's album Heroes and Villains has just come out today. I've listened to it a few times now, I love it. In this video I'm going to be making a beat in the style of the album. So I've laid down a chord progression. This is what it sounds like. I've added some notes on top as well. So it's dark, but it also has some kind of mood changes. I've kept the tempo quite slow at 120 because a few of the beats on the Heroes and Villains album were around that speed. A few with 21 Savage were like that. I think I want to add a few more layers to this now. We're going to go into Endless again. Yeah, let's go with that one. I want to build the layers, make it feel even more dark and also more full. With these sounds, I want to get the right tone and the right feel, and then I can kind of fine tune them later on with processing, but I want to get the idea down first. I think maybe I'll go for one more melodic kind of atmospheric sound, and then I'll find a bass, a sub bass. I like that lead. I do think I want to pitch this up though, just because I generally want the 808s to hit at the lowest note, a C or a B. I'm just going to shift this up so I can kind of reach that area. So let's get to processing. Okay, so I haven't done anything too crazy with the effects. All I've done is for the first one, I've added a chorus and taken out some of the lows. The second one, literally just taking out some of the lows. This one I've added a delay, so it now sounds like this. This one, which is a lead, I've added a delay and reverb to. And then finally the bass, I've done a decent amount. I've added this plugin, which I usually add to basses. It's the Arturia EQ Citral, and I've added the Pultec Bass Boost, which is pretty much the only preset I use from this plugin. Then I've added an EQ just to take out some of the highs. Then I've distorted it using Homicide, which is a distortion plugin I like to use for basses. I saw Elangelo using it. Elangelo is one of my favorite producers, so I thought I'd try it out, and yeah, it's really good for like heavily distorting basses. So where before it sounded like this, it now sounds like this. If I was to put it full dry wet mix, it would sound like this. So I think I'll put it closer to fuller dry wet, but I'm not going to put it all the way. So now in total, so for drums, I've already added in a lot of drums just to kind of play around with. A lot of the drums he used in the album were standard trap drums. The sounds weren't too crazy, and the patterns weren't too crazy either, to be honest. It was more so just how cohesive the album sounded, which made it great. But there was almost always more than one drum pattern per song. You know, there was 1 or 2 or 3 switch ups in the drums, at least in almost every song. There's one song called Trance, which has a really interesting 808 pattern at the start. So I think I'm going to try that maybe. That's a little bit boring, I guess, so I think I'm going to spice it up a bit. I think from bar 5 to the end, I think I'm going to go into regular 808 pattern. And then maybe end up with like the final bar being like this. I've been doing this a lot, and Metro's actually done this a lot in his beats, is that for part of the beat, it kind of feels half time like this, and then the other time he'll speed it up to being double time. I think I'm just gonna work on this a little bit more, and then I'll come back when I finish this section. Yeah, so that's kind of weird. It's got very familiar feelings in it, but the pattern is just a little bit different to kind of standard, and it's something that I feel like would fit on the new Metro album. Before I move on and do a few different patterns for the drums, I think I want to add in a sample, because obviously Metro's style within the past few years, and to be honest, a lot of time throughout his career, but more specifically modern Metro Boomin production, has a lot of samples mixed into it. You know, he's seen a lot using an MPC, chopping up samples and adding drums using that. I think I'm just gonna find a sample on YouTube quickly. Okay, I already know this is gonna work. So I've literally just pressed shuffle on this playlist. If you don't know it, I'd be surprised. It's this, you know, samples playlist. I've been using it for years. So I'm just gonna download this and then drag it in, structure it a little bit within the beat, and then I'll come back. So I've just chopped it a little bit. I've changed the pitch as well, so it matches the pitch of what I've already made. It was initially a lot faster than the beat, so I've slowed it down a bit, and then I've gradually slowed it over this using an automation clip, so then it meets the 120 of the beat that I've made. So this is what it sounds like. So, you know, it really fits the vibe, kind of spooky. Metro often puts these kind of organic intros and then we'll drop it into a trap beat. There are points where it goes slightly out of key, but I don't necessarily mind that. It doesn't make the beat sound off. Maybe in someone else's opinion it does, but I feel like it does work in this situation. So yeah, I'm just gonna play around with the patterns a little bit, switch them up a bit, and then I'll show you the final result. Okay, so I've got 3 different patterns. The first one is the one I showed you already. The second is a bit of a development on from that. So where before we had the bounce bit at the beginning, now with this one, we've just followed on from the pattern of the second half of pattern 1. So then we go back to and then the third pattern is the most different out of the 3, which just kind of keeps the high tempo throughout the whole thing. It uses the sub bass that I made before instead of an 808, so that sounds like this. Overall, it's kind of a complex beat in terms of the patterns, but you know, it's not that different from a beat that you usually make in the kind of Metro style. But yeah, I hope that was helpful. If it was, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and let me know what you want to see in future videos down below. Also, follow me on TikTok because I post a lot of tutorials there that's kind of shorter form that don't need the length of a YouTube video. So yeah, I'll see you in the next one.